Collective. Hey, good morning. Hope you are doing well today. Welcome into the channel. My name is Deborah, owner of Purusha Holistic Wellness, and this is another episode of Purusha Intuitive, where we are doing our weekly check-in for the week of today's the 7th. We're going to go 7th through the 10th. But these these readings are always timeless. Whenever you happen upon them, take what resonates, leave the rest behind. We're going to look at the energy via the tarot, astrology, and any channeled messages that come through. So let's get into it. We're in Taurus season. It's been an interesting week. You know, there's a lot of conflict. Not yet, Deborah. There's a lot of conflict around how we want to see things move versus how it's actually moving. And this is both like external conflict and internal conflict. And it is rubbing against our ego a little bit, as these types of things often do. We're also seeing that reflected with the transits of the sun this week, or beginning of the week. As we're moving into the weekend, things are mellowing out a little bit, which is definitely welcomed. And I think there's a level of peace in the collective, or this opportunity to gain peace through why things are not working out exactly how they are, right? Like, what's the reasoning behind them moving in a different direction? How can you find the positivity, the value, the silver lining type vibe? Because it's going to switch the energy. It's going to switch the focus. It's going to allow you to feel stronger, confident, more comfortable to make harder decisions. Like I said, though, it's a little bit easier to do that as we're moving into the weekend because there's not as many tense transits. And if anything, like, there's residual, but as we move through the weekend, we're actually feeling a little bit more on the hopeful side of things, which again is nice. Welcomed is what I should say. Taurus energy also, enlivens earth energy, our stability, our grounding, our nourishment, support, sustenance, etc. And there are competing forces between like fire, air, and earth. So it's finding that balance between what we think, how we're positioning ourselves, the actions that we're taking, and how we're feeling about it all, and how we're actually letting it play out in real time in our life. What's going on in your day-to-day, etc. Like the practical planning, also that bringing it into manifestation type vibe. Taurus rules the second house of money and possession, so it's a good time to focus on that stability, right? Making sure that you do have all your ducks in a row when it comes to your needs. And that's going to better help also how you want to move forward, how you kind of want to position yourself, etc. So let's start the reading off with an energy cleansing, just to set the tone, set the vibe for the reading, cleanse out those places we might feel blocked or limited. If this is not your vibe, you can skip ahead. Usually I have it in the chapters. I've been a little bit, whatever. I'm trying to give myself more grace for all the things. But the energy cleansings are just, like I said, it's a great way to cleanse out the energies that really aren't working for us, the places that we're coming into blocks, to limitations. It's also a really good time to set your intention for the reading. If you have something on your heart, on your mind that you would like spirit to deliver messages to you around, definitely give that over. Be open to receive. It really is a good way to personalize these collective readings. And I also do personal readings. I offer a variety of healing and wellness services. Readings are one of them. If you want me to look at your specific situation, how it's faring, where it's headed, or if you're interested in more of that realignment of self, your mind, body, soul, I do pranic energy healing, as well as Ayurvedic or holistic wellness consultations. When we're aligned in self, that's the strongest platform we have to work from. It helps us feel happy, satisfied, fulfilled, and it also makes manifesting things easier in our life, which I think is important. So, and I would totally love to help support that for you in whatever way possible. Definitely hit me up. All the info to get into contact with me is in the description box below. All right, let's get into it. I bless you with pure love and light, pure source energy, pure loving grace. I release anything that is not for your highest and best. Any fears, doubts, insecurities, lack of worth, lack of value, pain, anger, frustration, impatience, overwhelm. Cleanse it and release it from our being so I may see and understand the messages clearly. Help to make me a clear and open channel for the collective. Thank you, Father God, Spirit guides, guardian angels, Mama Love. All right, so I do feel this like sense of awareness of self, like you're maybe even hyper aware. I'm not saying that in a negative way, but it just feels like either you're doing a lot of thinking, a lot of processing, looking back over your life, what you've been through, where you're at, how you're showing up, how that might be perceived. It goes back to that ego that I was talking about with the sun. And, you know, we're seeing this ability, like I said, to overcome maybe even some of the harder parts that are a little bit more challenging. We might not like everything that we're doing or that is happening or that we have to do is maybe what I love this. We might not like everything, but it's in benefit. And like, to me, it feels like whatever level of awareness you have going on for yourself right now, you're at peace with that. You might not like it, but you're at peace with it because it is giving us an opportunity to really dive deep down into self. We had that Scorpio full moon last week, and that is part of Scorpion energy. That's why I'm highlighting it. Maybe not feeling the reverberations so much, but I think during the waning phase of the moon cycle, usually we're able to see things that really aren't working for us in order to release, to let go, to heal. And this does really provide the opportunity for deeper healing, for deeper growth, evolution. And I think in a lot of ways, because there's not a lot going on in the transits and the astrology, we're given extra time and space to do so. So, you know, yes, there are 100% the healer cards doing healing, the necessary healing on yourself. And it doesn't have to be anything crazy or, you know, like take a week vacation just to focus on yourself. If you can do that, that's awesome, right? I'm going to put this out. Sorry, it's like right in my path. I'm doing the cards and it keeps singeing my little arm hairs. All right. So it's this energy of like investing in your healing, not really being afraid. So what do I mean by that? As we're moving into the weekend, just giving yourself a little extra space, time necessary that you need, especially because of the emotional conflict that might be coming up. The triggers that are getting triggered with both the moon and Mars tensely aspected to Jupiter. We're also seeing Venus tensely aspected or in opposition to Black Moon Lilith. So it's really hard to like make peace with the realities around some of these things. Is that letting go? Oh my gosh, dude. Exactly what I was just saying, right? Like it's really hard to make peace around the reality, who someone or a situation is showing up to be. And like, okay, like, because some of it is this acceptance component of this is what it is. Like, stop projecting the fantasy of what you want it to be on the situation, because that might be giving someone or something too much of a hall pass, or it's not really helping anything. If anything, it's keeping something limited. And in that limitation, it feels it feels more suffocating for you, right? In our blocked energy. Okay, so maybe I'm hearing like with this wonderment or lack of wonderment is getting too caught up in your head. That it's reminding me of that first channeled message of a lot of awareness. Awareness is a great thing to have. It's a great tool. It helps us navigate through things in a way that we can actually honor self, but at the same time, it can really distract from this curiosity and excitement and wonderment of what life can bring, of what can unfold. And that feels like that's part of the drain, the mental strain, the distraction of keeping you kind of in this box or confined to a certain situation or person. Cultivating your own traditions is what I'm hearing with this 9 of Pentacles. you have time and space to do this for yourself. Like this, I'm hearing like you've separated yourself, or you're in the process, or you're doing that more, setting boundaries, even if you will, so you can hear your inner voice, or you can hear your own thoughts, the things that you need to think, the things that you need to feel, the things that actually do deserve your time and energy. And this is like the space that I see you cultivating for yourself this weekend. And I think it's coming off the heels of people or situations not giving you too much of a reason to engage. Because I think that this letting go is very important. It's a very key or pivotal piece of the process, because as you let go, then a gift comes in. Something that you're not really expecting. Something that, again, maybe it's because you're too much in your schedule, in the grunt and grind, doing the same things over and over again. Maybe you need to get out. I think the weekends or whenever you have free time is a great, opportunity to do so, especially as we move into warmer months, summer season, getting out, festivals, being a part of what's going on in the community or surrounding areas, or taking trips. There's a lot more opportunity to do those kinds of things. And I feel like you've had to be pretty dedicated either to yourself or, again, with that Nine of Pentacles that just fell out, maybe you have been like spending a lot of time alone, or you're just in a space of your life where you are more self-reliant. And that's a good thing, because it is really helping heal some of the necessary things, the things that are actually carrying a lot of weight and will have longevity to it, in the way that as you're healing it, as you're changing it, transforming it in your life, you're stepping into new life in a way that maybe like you've wanted, but subconsciously felt like either you didn't deserve or you couldn't have or whatever, right? And I feel like we've been having a lot of these limitations show up in our day-to-day, people, situations that are trying to throw you off course, even if it isn't related to some type of challenge, difficulty, trauma. The Sun, this guy's been coming out for us a lot lately. I love it in this deck. I love it in general because it is a very life-affirming energy. And it does directly tie back to that awareness that I was talking about. Six of Bows, abundance. You are tapping into your abundance. But again, it does, and not to be overly redundant, I'm going to really work on this to not repeat the same things over and over and over again. But it feels important. It feels, because here's the thing, like you are tapping into your abundance because you're willing to face the things that might be a little bit harder to face. 1444 on the clock. Protection from angels, spirit guides, higher realms. 5 of Cups is in the outside blocked energy. It's an interesting energy in this deck specifically because 5 of Cups is really when we are disappointed with how things go. But in this energy, I feel like it is connected to celebrating the loss, the pain, whatever that looks like. And I don't mean that in a controversial way. I mean it in the way that, like, even when someone important to us passes, this is a for example, if someone important to us passes, we can still celebrate life. And it's, I don't know, it might not, I'm not going to go down that road, but that can be very life honoring, life affirming is what I want to get at. So, okay. Very interesting. Okay. 7 of Cups, morning. In this deck. The Mirror. As you're doing this, though, it looks like something is being exposed to you. You get an opportunity to see something from a different perspective, and I think this is exactly whatever this gift is. Because whatever you're dealing with in your environment, it looks like there's a lot of also, like, awareness all across the board, right? And this totally makes sense because usually what we're experiencing in our own life, like the people around us are experiencing as well. It just might be coming through in different avenues, different situations. Because it looks like just as much as you have this awareness up and running. You're plugging into abundance. You're really like focusing on what you're growing and building for yourself. And it looks like there's success behind that. 100%. We've been talking a lot about this. It's also because you're willing to look at the places that have been limiting you, that have been holding you back. And it's becoming also very apparent within your environment, the people, the situations that you're dealing with around you. And that's, you know, it's bringing up a lot of feelings, a lot of emotions. It's also making someone make different choices. I think like something's having a really hard time making peace with the choices that you are making. It's forcing them to look at yourself, the way that you're doing things. It's forcing people, it's forcing dynamics to look at themselves, how they have handled and managed things. And that can sometimes be a very difficult energy, a very like a wake-up call, right? Like when we have like, oh shit, like this is actually how I was showing up. Page of Cups. And that's exactly what it looks like people, situations are seeing about you, hoping for a new opportunity, a fresh start, a new beginning. The way this information is coming in, it is helping. Let me ask about that before I say that. It helps, but I do think there is this self-reflection component. So you might even be having a conversation or a situation play out this weekend where you do have to look at yourself. It is more these deeper parts of yourself that I don't know, I mean, this is just when we act out of subconscious patterning. That's what I'm picking up. It's not in a way to shame, but it's in a way, like anytime we're dealing with like manifesting, like anything, right? Like whatever we're doing in our life, we have to be aware of the credits and the deficits, even if they are about ourselves or how we're showing up, how we're acting, how we're behaving. That's what the mirror is in this deck. It's not the easiest energy, but it's not a bad energy. It's actually a good energy. It's an energy that brings with it freedom. And what I love in this deck, especially the way it's depicted in the background with this guy, it really does represent the passing away, the changing of life cycles. It's an awareness, like I said, that's bringing freedom, not to shame, not to point the finger, not to blame. And it's not even like you have to take everything on that everybody's going to have their own perception. And sometimes when we're dealing with trickier dynamics, sometimes we do have to agree to disagree, because there is something that comes with this that I feel like is a blessing, and it's important maybe for you to be open to, is what I'm seeing. I don't think you really want to, because I think you're very much invested in what you have going on. It's not specific avoidance. I don't see that. Because, like I said, you're showing up, or your overarching energy is showing up in this way. Like, when things come up the next couple days, you can say, hey, let me look at this. Let me take a second to process this. Even if I don't have a minute right now, maybe I can look at it a little bit later on when I do. And then understand, where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? What does this mean about decisions I have to make moving forward? That is healing. And then also like just affirming, I am safe, I'm protected. I don't have to do anything that doesn't make me feel uncomfortable or whatever, right? Because it does look like someone who, something where there was a difference of dynamic. Let's look at what this dynamic was for you. But it does feel like someone's trying to rewrite a situation that they are disappointed about. And here's the thing, they're not coming to you with a lot of bells and whistles. It looks very simple. It looks it's not grandiose. It's not a grandiose gesture of love or declaration or apologies, or it has simplicity to it. And it has some practicality to it. I like it because it doesn't feel overwhelming, but it also feels a little basic. I'm not going to lie. Like, it has someone doesn't want to get too deep. They want to leave it on the surface. They want to figure out how they can communicate what is authentically in their heart while like not getting too vulnerable about it. That's the vibe. And it is off the heels of disappointment. It is off the heels of something they wanted to see different, something they wanted to see evolve in a different way. Maybe even just like demanding a lot of respect, but not really being deserving of it. I mean, I think we all deserve respect, even if you are a shithole of a person. It's still important. That's what we teach. And well, I should say, well, that's what I teach my son in our household, is just like we treat people with love and respect, because people are going to do what they're going to do. And a lot of times if they are being assholes or whatever, shitty, sorry for my language in this moment, but it's like, that's who they are, right? That's what they're going to do. That's their own pain. That's their own struggle, their own sadness. 5 of Stones is feeling left out. So when people are operating out of their own hurt and wounding, and it looks like that's exactly what this is. Family, the ancestor, tradition, home. Again, this is a lot of confirmation of like, these are the expectations. This is how this should be done, and you need to act accordingly. And it feels like you're not, or you haven't, or you've broken away, or whatever happened with this dynamic happened. And now it looks like someone's trying to backtrack. But again, I see you being very focused on yourself. I see you kind of being like, well, this is what I'm doing. You're not specifically open to a conversation, but it does look like it's happening, whether you want it or not. Yeah, because there is some level of like, let's work, let's be friends again. Whatever that means, it can be any type of relationship. But someone is making a friendly offer. A friendly offer with the hopes that it gets their foot in the door, because again, like I said, it's simple, it's basic. There's not a lot that's maybe even changed at this point. And that's exactly what this is saying down here. 3 of Wands, 10 of Cups, 3 of Pentacles. You have to wait it out. You have to wait it out to see if someone can actually live up to like what they're claiming they can do. I don't know. It's on the table. I'm not going to speculate, because I think that's part of this wonderment component. You don't have to put yourself in a situation that makes you feel uncomfortable or whatever. But it does seem like you, I don't know that you're curious. This feels more like you are already moved on from this, and this feels like someone who's aware of that, and someone who's coming back into hope, with hopes that they can kind of stop the trajectory of where you're moving. And I feel like that's a little disinteresting to you. That's what it feels like, because it does look like whatever you have been doing, like I said, like I've been saying a lot in these readings, it's paying off. It's a good thing. It's a positive thing. And you're very focused on that. And this feels like something that is coming into, again, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's a to be determined type of thing. The antelope and the wheat are nourishment. And I feel like that kind of goes back to nourishing self, like we talked about in the very beginning. When we're doing a deeper processing of self, of understanding, it's helping us to nourish ourselves. Because essentially, if we're going to talk about it from the realm of Ayurveda, essentially when we do those deep dives and we bring awareness, then we can bring that healing, right? Without awareness, we can't heal. And like I said, the Ayurvedic perspective is like that is cause for disease within the physiology, the mind, the body, the soul, whatever is getting lodged, whatever is getting stuck. Ultimately, it is going to create disease, and which will manifest physically. And this is that value of like taking a beat and nourishing yourself, making sure you're not being too predetermined is what I'm hearing. Leaving space for wonderment, but also using your intuitive senses. That's what I'm picking up. Like, not just because someone's doing something, showing up in a certain way, hey, let's start fresh, let's start again, let's be better to each other, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Even if they're doing that, there still is this need to be aware of what's actually happening in the dynamic. So not necessarily letting down your guard, not in a way to be paranoid or hypervigilant, because there is this component of releasing the control that you don't have control over, not getting too crazy, too much in your head, whatever that looks like for you. I'm not accusing anyone of that because I don't necessarily see that. I just see that you're doing your own thing, and this is another piece of the puzzle coming in, and you kind of have to like lift your head up and be like, do I want to deal with this or not? And then you're going to go back to whatever you're doing, because that's the more interesting story to you right now. And whatever this is, it's someone, something else trying to come in and salvage something with you, because they see that you're moving forward. And it's also showing them certain things that they need to see within themselves, right? It's revealing their wants and the desires for you, for the relationship, the dynamic, etc. So again, I think this letting go is all about surrendering to what you can't control, so that you're not predetermining how this is, like, unless there's certain things where you have to protect yourself or whatever, right? Or you're just like, get this person situation away from me. That's one thing. Okay. At the same time, I do see you allowing someone something to show, whether or not they are holding to their word. What I love about this, this hawk and the thistle, what I love about this, it's saying to continue on with grace, graceful persistence. Continue to move in a way that you have been moving, i.e. this abundance component, because that is bringing in not only whatever this is, I think this is a side note. That's what this dynamic feels like. It feels like a side note, whatever's happening this weekend. It's just an added layer, but it's not necessarily the main thing, right? The main course or whatever. This feels a lot more like it's preparation, and I love it. Preparation and purification. It feels like this needs to happen in order to purify. And as you remain graceful in the way that you manage yourself, in the way that you handle and deal, exactly like we were starting the reading off, that component of awareness, you're allowing it to maximize yourself, maximize how you're showing up for yourself, what you're thinking, what you're feeling. And it's putting a lot of beautiful things into play. I love this Six of Wands in this deck because it is a victory. It is overcoming. And I'm even noticing, I've never noticed this before, there's like all this fruit, like all this abundance in the background at the bottom of the card. Just reminding you, that like the more that you continue to invest in what you're doing for yourself, the more it's going to pay off. And I think that whatever this thing is, it does have past energy components. We've been getting a lot of past energies or messages about that in terms of letting go, purifying, releasing. Even if it is a relationship, a dynamic that's like starting a new chapter, there still is purification, release that we need to do so we can move forward. So we're not taking that junk into the next cycle, right? And that's what this is all about. And I do see you committed to that this weekend. I see that the energy is actually good, or because there's not a lot going on in the astrology, it doesn't feel so overwhelming. It feels like it's going to be okay. And you're using that to your advantage. You're using that to your advantage to help you navigate with whatever this is. It might not be your first choice of something to deal with, but you're still doing it. And it feels good. So I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope you're having a great week. I hope you found messages that resonated here for you. Definitely drop comments below if you did. I love to hear or just connect, say hey, share, and a little love, little TLC. I so appreciate all the love, all the support to the channel. Know that it blesses my heart always. And I am sending love and blessings back your way. Have a fabulous weekend. I will be uploading on Saturday and Sunday accordingly. All right, I'll talk to you. Have a good one.